And it's time once again to talk politics on your program, Democratic Party. This is where we dissect issues around Nigeria's democracy as the nation moves towards another election year come 2027. It has been 27 years of uninterrupted democratic rule. You recall that in 1999, Nigeria returned to democratic rule, and since then it's been on a roller coaster, and Nigerians are still wishing that we go more than the level that we are today. And just beside that, Ogun State recently celebrated 50 years of existence, having been created on February 3rd, 1976. Within these 50 years, we have had civilian rule for 30 years, while military has had a share of 20 years. You recall that in 1979, late Chief Olabi Onabanjo was elected as the first democratically elected civilian governor of Ogun State, and he was in the saddle till October 1983 when he got the second-term ticket. But unfortunately, come December 1983, the democratic rule was truncated by the military. So in 1991, we had what we call a semi-democratic rule in Nigeria, in which Olusegun Obasanjo was elected in 1991, but we also had that truncated in 1992. So come 1999, we returned to democratic rule, and Olusegun Obasanjo returned as civilian governor of Ogun State. In 2003, it was the term of Otumagbe Ngadalo, who was in the saddle for 8 years, up till 2011. Then from there we shifted to Senator Bikuli Amuso, who was also in the saddle for another 8 years to 2019. And after that, the incumbent Prince Dapo Adeodo has been in the saddle since 2019 till date, and is going to be there till 2027, when we shall have another election to elect another governor that will rule Ogun State for the next 4 years or 8 years, as the case may be. It depends on the electorate. So we are looking at Ogun politics yesterday, today, and of course tomorrow. I have a guest in the house who is not based in Nigeria, is based in Canada. He's a public affairs analyst, and of course he's a public affairs analyst, and of course he's a medical doctor who is a public health physician. He once lived in Nigeria, but today he has relocated to Canada. But yet, the politics of Ogun State has not left him in any way. And of course, when he was in Nigeria, in Ogun State, he was past secretary of Nigerian Medical Association, Ogun State branch. Join me as I welcome into the studio Dr. Gafar Akinsoya. Dr. Akinsoya, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Ogun. Thank you so much. I will also greet the audience. I say a very good afternoon to you all from anywhere you are watching from. Thank you for staying tuned to Ogun State Television.
All right. Thank you for also finding time to be with us on your short visit to Nigeria to participate on this program, and to also contribute your quota to the development of Nigeria as well. Now, let's look at Ogun State in totality. 50 years of being in existence, and we have had a share of military and civilian administration. How do you chronicle all of this?
Yeah, thank you very much once again. Ogun State is a blessed state. Some of us are very proud to be an indigenous of Ogun State because it's a state of many firsts. Our Baba, the late sage, Obafemi Awolowo, from this state. We have the living legends also, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. We have the likes of Chief Olusegun Oshoba. Many of our leaders that are living and those that are past, they have contributed so much immensely to the growth of Ogun State. And Ogun State at 50, what do you want to say? It can only get better. Ogun State still have a lot of untapped potentials that we still have to work on. And that is why whosoever becomes our leader becomes so important to us, wherever we may be, anywhere in the world. We want to see the person that will be able to harness all this untapped potential and make Ogun State a great place. Untapped potential in terms of our border, geographical border, in terms of human capacity, in terms of the way our people, even the orientation that our people have, academic potentials. We have a lot of potentials in Ogun State that we are hoping that we always have the right people to come on board as our leader so that they can tap some of this untapped potential for us. So, of course, the direction of the leadership so much depends on what will happen in a particular state or country. So, it is very important for us as indigenous to advocate for the best.
Okay, the area of personality that you mentioned across all structure of the society, and when you take a look at the trajectory from then 1972, you say the state has really taken advantage of all these human resources, all the potentials in terms of mineral resources. Even like you also said, the geographical border entity that we also have. We are better with Lagos State. We have the fastest economy, if not in Africa today, with the Republic of Benin, and that's an international border. So you say the state is on the right track of development.
Well, just like I mentioned to you, I would say we are on the right track. However, we are very slow. You know, we are still very slow. It is expected that the potentials are so much that it is expected that Ogun State would have been more than where we are. However, just like I would say, we still thank God that we are where we are. However, we are hopeful that we will be above where we are with the next generation of leaders. But to say the real fact, we are slow. Probably development did not start on time. Probably we move from normal civil service or civil servant state to main economic states, probably in the late 90s or early 90s. So I will tell you that we are still not yet where we are supposed to be in terms of what we have as resources.
But definitely, Dr. Anderson, there is hope for Ogun State.
So much hope. All we need to do is to ensure that we get the right set of leaders to harness all those potentials that are yet to be tapped. Sincerely, Ogun State has a lot of potentials.
Okay, and one of the hopes being the recently inaugurated international airport. You know, we never had it in Ogun State. We have an airport in Ogun State now, and the state is fast developing. Though, by your own context, you said the development took off late. But as it is now, if you look at the Abeokuta-Shagamu road axis, that corridor, a lot of companies are springing up over there, Gito and Baya area and the likes of that. So, can we say Ogun State is now evolving?
Yes, I must say that kudos to the past administrations and even the current one for what they have been able to do. Saying that we are slow does not mean we are not moving. However, with the current situation of things, we think we need to move with a jet speed.
Okay.
Because we actually have the potentials that we are yet to tap. Probably with the advent of the airport coming on board, which I think we have to also make maximal use of it. It's another thing to have an infrastructure. It's another thing to ensure that you make use of it so that you can actually generate the necessary resources for the state.
Okay.
I've been there, I was around, you know, I'm very close to Ogun State, and if you say I'm based anywhere, people will ask you, we saw him about 2 months ago. So, because I'm always around. So, I still have my businesses also running in Nigeria. So, for me, I still believe that Ogun State needs to ensure that we harness all these potentials and we are able to tap them. So, for now, we may have the airport. If we are not making good use of it, it will not generate anything. I was there sometimes, was it July last year, and I saw the place is still there. It's not as if there is much activity. How do we ensure there is activity?
No, flights don't fly regularly.
So if that is probably my next trip to Abuja, probably I will fly from there. Is that what you are telling me? Okay, good. So if that is happening now, we should also try our best to now use that to attract foreign investors. If we can use that airport to attract foreign investors and people are coming in every day, then Ogun State is actually on the path of that desired progress that we want our state to be. I said it, that we cannot blame anybody. We started well, even though slowly, and now we are moving. So we still have a lot, because based on our Ogun State is bordering many other states. You understand? Even an international border, we have it, which is the Republic of Benin. We are still yet to tap what is going on there. All we see is the activities of the smuggler, which I think is reduced now. But how can, as a state, how can we ensure that we harness what is going on even at our international borders? So our local borders too, we need to work on them. So that at the end of the day, our proximity to Lagos is something that I must also mention. Our proximity to Lagos should have taken Ogun State far beyond where we are.
Okay.
Yes, because we are just about 1 hour away from Lagos. So expectedly, people are coming from Lagos to live in Ogun State, and they also give back whatever they have back to Lagos State. So how do we harness that? How do we bring that potential to Ogun State so that it can benefit us in Ogun State? It's very, very important. So it is important for us to look at it, some of these border towns, some of these places that I mentioned, and then we see how they do things so that we can tap from it and then we make use of it so that we can increase our internet generated revenue, we can increase people's participation in our programs and activities, we can also increase our economic potentials. By the time we are able to achieve this, I can assure you, Ogun State will actually be where it is supposed to be in the Committee of States in Nigeria.
Okay, let me just take you on this. Of course, Ogun State is an entity within the geographical location called Nigeria. So there is no way you can separate Ogun State from Nigeria. Let me have your thoughts on the recent visit of President Bola Tinubu to United Kingdom. A lot have been said, debates have been here and there. People have said, no, this is a welcome development and will also make Great Britain to look in the direction of Nigeria and be able to attract investors to Nigeria. So what will be your submission on this visit, 2-day visit to United Kingdom?
Yeah, that was a very good one, very historic, highly important visit that I can say that it is good for our country. The last time we had such was about 37 years ago, that the president will be invited by the leadership of the United Kingdom on such a visit. Effectively, so that visit will not just be another tourist visitation. It is expected that every details of that visit must be looked into, and we should tap on everything that the president has been able. Yes, the president can lay foundation. I'm sure that visit alone will also attract foreign investors to Nigeria. And of course, I'm looking at Ogun State because I think our governor was also at that visit. I'm not too sure, but I think one of the people that were there, I think he was also one of them. So I'm just saying that very importantly, that visit is very historic, but for us not just to make it just as a normal tourist visit again, or it is important for us to look at what economic benefits can Nigeria as a nation benefit from that visit. What political benefits can we have? What infrastructural benefits can we have? You know, for example, I'm still personally surprised that up till now we still have epileptic power supply in Nigeria. What are we going to do? Do we want to go solar? Even the entire world is also, they don't have sun that like we have, but they're also using solar. So why can't we just tap in on some of these things? Nigeria has a lot of potential that are yet to be tapped into. And I want to believe in the leadership of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that he has what it takes to put Nigeria back into the right track. So for me, I want to say that visit, we just have to ensure that the benefit does not erode us. must work on the benefit of that visa.
How often do Nigerians in the diaspora, how often do you interface with because I definitely found my hand up returning back to Nigeria to continue with their life and the likes of that. So how do you take interest in Nigeria's politics? How often do you interact with Nigeria? Venture narrowing it down to your state, Ogun State. How often do you get familiar with things that are happening in Ogun State? 2027 just around the corner. Nigeria will be on the threshold of electing new set of leaders. Ogun State not exempted. So Ogun State will also be looking forward to a new leader that will pilot the affairs of this state for the next 4 years. And if God says it's going to be 8 years, then the person will be there for another 8 years. So how often do you interface to get things done for the state, for Nigeria?
Yes, for me, I always say it anywhere I go, that there can never be any place like home. That is fundamental. Having known that, because my father lived most part of his year in the United Kingdom, and there is no year that will not be around in his house in Meteko to come and relate with people. So he comes home at times 3-4 times in a year, most especially when he got retired in the UK. He's always home. So I have that mentality that there is nowhere like home. He has given us that mentality. So wherever you may be, Nigeria is still where you are from. And that is what we are also selling to our kids and others. For me, at any of my leisure time, one of the things I do mostly is to follow up what is going on in Nigeria. And of course, if I narrow it down to my state. And I also interact with my friends over there on the happenings in my state. Those of us that are from Ogun State, we discuss, we look at things. But of course, most of us that are Nigerians, we always look at happenings in Nigeria and we discuss it. So most importantly, I do that often, and I also encourage every Nigerian in diaspora to always do that, because there can never be any place like home. I will say, even if you think, okay, you have gone abroad with your family, can you take people from your village, everybody from your village, and say they should also come and live abroad? Is it possible? No. So my own village at Igbojo, will I just go and carry everybody there and say, yes, so yeah, let's go? Is it Lagos? No. You all know that there are procedures to getting abroad. So where I'm going in essence is that it's as important to us. Nigeria is as important to us as anywhere in the world, because this is where we were born, this is where we were bred, this is where we have our education, this is where we have our life, this is where we started our life. So whatever that is happening abroad is for abroad. And I tell people, anytime I have opportunity of growing your investment, I will come back to Ogun State or Nigeria to do it, instead of taking my money abroad. So very importantly, whatever we get abroad, we should be able to be interested in investing it in our hometown. There can never be any place like home.
I know you have been involved in unionism at the time you were Secretary of Nigerian Medical Association.
Even before then, as student, I was President of Medical Students, and I also interacted with the student union before NMA. So I was PRO of NMA. I was Treasurer of NMA. I was Secretary of NMA.
Wow. And that's the three times. And you people always talk against civilians that they shouldn't go for 3 times. You have occupied 3 offices back to that just like that.
Well, probably because I did not occupy one office twice.
Okay.
You know, there's always this adage that one good turn deserves another. I guess because it wasn't a matter of interest. It was a matter of people saying, no, you are good for this. You want to agree. In fact, the effort that produced me as treasurer, I didn't want to contest. My mind was to do secretary and go and sit down. But because somebody wanted to be secretary that time, I stepped down my ambition. I said, I'm not interested. And they said, okay, you must do something. You must participate in leadership. That was why I became the treasurer of NMA.
Okay, you said that has been the impetus that has given you the leverage to be involved in political process, to be involved in politics.
Well, the impetus have always been there, right from St. Benedict Private School. I believe that leadership is a position of responsibility. And I also believe that you can do more when you serve people through a platform. You know, ordinarily, just like I mentioned to you, my father did not hold any position. He does not even like politics. Probably that was why I've not had the opportunity of contesting in any of the political position. But he always told me, any opportunity that you have, help people. Whatever you have, share it. And coming from that mentality, I must tell you that probably that is why I have interest. Okay, what can we do better? How can we do it to ensure that we actually make a better society from where we met it? So probably that is one of the reasons why you see me doing some of these things. Unionism gave me opportunity to represent the students when I was a medical student, because basically people believe that, oh, as a medical student you are not expected to do unionism in quote. And I was like, okay, fine, somebody must represent us. We cannot just be sitting down and I guess that was actually one of the, in quotes, one of the best tenure where we had a lot of activity. That made my vice chancellor of my university then, Professor Afolabi Shoyode, he's still alive. He made me his foster son till today. Because he was happy with our activities as medical students. These guys are well organized. This one are just doing a little. We come with our agitations and we consult, then we consolidate our consultation. And we always say it, that the last thing, which is confrontation, we come last if we are not listening to what we are agitating for. And of course, we have always gotten results with our 2-6. So, and that was actually where we also brought to enemy, and we are able to also give our quota.
So why you have this special interest in what becomes of Ogun State politically? You said Ogun, though is developing, though we started slowly, but now things are moving on well. So why are you having that interest in seeing what happens in Ogun State? Particularly, we are the threshold of conducting another election on which another man, or let's say a woman, we never can tell, will now be saddled to govern Ogun State for 4 years. And if peradventure, if it's going to be for 8 years, the person will be there for 8 years. So why are you having that keen interest in it?
Every human being is a political animal. Let me start with that. Just like I mentioned to you, my interest in service and my interest in ensuring that everybody lives a comfortable life is also one of the reasons why I think I'm showing interest. Okay, let there be light, let there be water, let there be housing, let there be good roads, let there be good health care. That is actually my interest. I'm not a politician, but I'm interested in making sure that people have a better life. Okay. So that is number one. Now, Ogun State I have a special interest in Ogun State because firstly it's my state. I saw Abeokuta. I lived in Abeokuta. I had my primary, secondary education in Abeokuta. I moved to Ijebu. I had my university education before going to Ibadan for further education and some other things. But where I'm going in essence is that it is important for us to know that whatever happens in this state is our concern, and we are interested. Now, the politics of Ogun State, I will say that my basic interest is not just about any region coming to be governor. It's also not about any religion coming on board to say they want to be governor. And also, I'm also not particularly interested in any gender coming to become governor. But I'm interested in inclusivity. I'm interested in capacity. I'm interested in commitment. And I'm interested in a leader that will love his people, his or our people, passionately, and will be ready to actually give us that dividend of democracy. And I'm also mostly interested in a leader that will ensure that we are able to tap all those untapped potentials that we have, that I mentioned in August, that we have in Ogun State. Basically, that's my interest. Of course, I know there are a lot of agitations on region. Yes, it should be the governor should come from a particular region. Yes, people are saying, okay, Ogun State have had a particular religion coming up as their leader for many years, and it should be the turn of our religion. You know, Ogun State, we don't fight for religion. We don't fight for whichever religion that you practice. Muslim, Christians, we all have them in our family. Even the traditionalists, we all have them in our families. So we don't have problems. But when it comes to political issue, we want to see things also from a broader perspective. Okay. The current governor is a Christian. The last one we had is a Muslim. Otobagonga Daniel, Christian. Baba Oshoba, Christian. Baba Olabisi Onabanjo, Christian. So there is an agitation now that the next governor should be a Muslim. Some people are saying that. And of course, some people came about and they said, yes, the next governor must be a female. We never had a female governor. Let it come for the first time in Ogun State. Probably because Ogun State is one of the most advanced states in Nigeria. We want to produce the first female governor. So there is agitation on that too. And some people are also saying that it is our state. Since 1976, our region has not had the opportunity of serving Ogun State at that highest level of governorship. Yeah, it should be our turn. So there is a particular agitation on that too. How do we marry these agitations to ensure that we have the best? People are saying, okay, since Ogun State was created in 1976, there has not been anybody from Yewa. It has always been between Ijebu and Egba running the affairs of the state. That yes, this time around it is Yewa. Yeah, very true. The agitation is right. However, somebody will say, yes, as much as the agitation is right that you want Yewa to be governor, don't forget that before the advent of Yewa in 1995, July 1st, 1995, was when Yewa changed name from Ebado to Yewa. So, but before then, they were Ebado. And there cannot be Ebado without Eba. So, if you are saying it is Eba that has been producing governor, you guys are producing it together. Because we are Ebado. Not until 1995, July 1st, when they came together, led by our Baba, Professor Anthony Ashwaji, and they came together and said, okay, let us chart a good course in terms of us coming together. Ebado is a region in Yewa, but there is a Yewa that brought all of us together. Let us come together and bear a particular name. And that we are still talking, also agitating. So the agitation for Yewa governor started in 1995, officially. Not 1976 when the Ogun State was created. So, but be that as it may, it is genuine. It is genuine. They also have rights to it. They have right to it. Yes, they have right to it. And if the guy is also saying, we also have rights. If you have done it another 8 years, we cannot wait. But that we also have rights. I mean central. All we need to look at. And if a religion is also saying, Olabisi Onabanjo was a Christian. Baba Oshoba was a Christian. Baba Daniel was a Christian. The only Muslim that have served was Senator Ibukule Amosun. Then Prince Dapo Abiodun is also a Christian. Okay, the next governor should be a Muslim. They are also right. These agitations are real. They are right. And I'm not surprised it's coming early in Ogun State. Ogun State people are highly cerebral. We are intelligent. We have the capacity. We have the capability. And we always produce our leaders based on some of these things. It is not based on money. You can have money. Ogun State people, when it comes to decision making, they will make the right decision based on capability capacity, inclusiveness, and ability to deliver. So, for us in Ogun State, probably we say 2027 is starting early. Because I
we are less than a year to election.
Yes, but what I'm getting in Ogun State, I don't think I have it in other states yet. I'm not saying they are also not preparing. But Ogun State is coming to a lot of actions, a lot of engagement, a lot of political discussion. A lot is going on. If you open your social media, you will see a lot is going on. Probably because we are Ogun State and we have what we call a standard. And we are going to work on ensuring that we have that standard. So basically, the agitation is real. However, we have to think more about capacity, commitment, inclusiveness, ability to deliver beyond any other thing.
So those factors should not be present.
I'm telling you.
I mean the factors of religion,
gender, as important they may be. I'm not going to throw away all those factors. No. They are genuine. The agitations are real. However, as real as they are, the major one that I think we should keep talking about is capacity, commitment, and the ability to deliver this government for the good people of Ogun State.
The party seems to be having the upper hand ahead of other political parties in Nigeria, and people are saying it's like Nigeria is tilting towards one party state. Can that be correct? Well, since the electorate have the power on the election day to vote for any candidate of their choice, and if that candidate has the result, that is, you have been able to meet all the requirements that will not make the election empire to declare you the winner of the election, then you go ahead and occupy the office. So, no party state, everybody moving in one direction, should that be a concern to you?
Well, I want to say that one party state is not good for our politics, and I'm hoping that the earlier we realize that, the better for us as a nation. It may sound like, okay, this is the party that is winning, and this is the party that has all it takes. We should also remember that this party was also in opposition before they now came to limelight. I'm hoping that we will have somebody that will have the mind like Asiwaju to also play that role of opposition. For every opposition political party anywhere in the world, there is always a need for an arrowhead. That arrowhead, I think, is what is missing. Now, just like I saw in one of Asiwaju's interview, he said, let them go in disarray. Am I the one that is causing it? You cannot blame a man for not putting a man for not putting your own house in order. So he will not come to come and help you put your house in order. I could still remember in 2007 when Asiwaju alone was the only AC governor. He was the only one. No, I think he came on AD, they became AC. By the time he was leaving, they are already AC. He was the only one. And many of his boys want to be governor. That was when I saw what they call leadership in practicality. After the primaries, when Babatunde Fashola, FAN, was picked as the gubernatorial candidate, you will believe that that party was going to break. All the other candidates went to AIT for a major press conference that was meant to break that party. So the president wasn't fair. I can remember names, I don't want to mention them now. Because they are still Asiwaju's boys to date. And what did Asiwaju do? Said, what is on ground is enough for us to let us think more about Lagos State. Let us have that governorship, and you will see us growing better and bigger. And that was what he did. He sacrificed his own personal senatorial ambition for one of the candidates, and many other sacrifices also. And he was able to ensure that that opposition figure, which was one state then, was maintained. And before you know it, they were able to get more other states in Southwest. So, coming from that background, I want us to look at it before they now became the national party that we are talking about. So, coming from that background, I want us to look at it that it is important for all opposition political parties to put their house in order. APC will not put their house in order for them. So, and for them to achieve it, there may be need for them to have an arrowhead. So that arrowhead will be the one to say, okay, let me coordinate. And it can start from region. It can be a regional arrowhead. But have that love of the nation at heart so that it can also be a national thing. That was what made Asiwaju.
But in politics, there is always this issue of trying to have a kind of balance. That is, you want to make sure that no one is to change. If A is producing the governor, Region B should come up with a deputy, Region C should come up with
SSG.
So you want to share the positions like that. But when you look at fairness, justice, balance, equality, and all of that, do you think that religion that you talked about, that the agitation started on July 1st, 1995, do you think it is indeed their time to produce the governor, the next governor of Ogun State?
Well, I must say that
I'm putting you on the hot seat now.
Yes, I'm on the hot seat. Yes, even the seat itself is hot because I'm sure whatever I say here will be well quoted. But sincerely, between me and you, I have said it and I will say it again. The agitation of my people from Ogun West is very real. It's genuine. Sincerely. It's genuine. But it is not enough. It is not enough for us to say, okay, we are now leaving that, we are now jettisoning every other thing because we want to produce government from Ogun West. And I also say it again that in Ogun Central, is he saying, yes, we also have interest, and they also have rights. I'm not a politician, I don't know how they will settle that area. But the truth of the matter still is, they have rights. Ogun Central have rights. Because their own right is okay. Ebado was part of Eba before they were. So if they come from their angle and say yes, they also have rights. But it is not enough for us to say only a region should produce governorship just because somebody is from that particular region and he should come and be governor. No. We have to consider commitment, capacity, justice, equity, ability to ensure that whosoever come on board is able to deliver. So as much as we want to consider every other issue, don't forget, I told you, in 2019, when the then governor was about leaving, the Christian Association of Nigeria, our brothers, they came and they said, okay, the governor called them, he said, we want to hand over to another Muslim. And they said, no, you cannot. Why must you? You are a Muslim, you are living. This is not possible. And like people was real. And some of us also see reading in what they are saying. We thought, no, it's not going to be. Let's have a Christian. And that happened. So if the Muslims are also coming on board and saying yes, it is our turn, they are not mistaken. But is it enough to say just because of religion we want to produce governor of Ogun State? We are talking about the gateway state. We are talking about a state with standard. We are talking about a state that produces people, personality on all forms of life. We are talking about a state that produces giants in every aspect of life. So do you want us to consider religion alone? The answer is capital no. Do you want us to consider religion alone? The answer is capital no. Do you want us to consider the fact that somebody has money? The answer is capital no. Do you want us to consider the fact that somebody is a female? And because my gender has also not produced governor, I want to start from Ogun State. The answer is no. We are going to look at achievement. We are going to look at ability. We are going to look at capacity. We are going to look at commitment to Ogun State. Amongst other things, then we will be fair in our assessment. We will ensure justice and equity also rules. So with that, we can now say yes, this is the person we are. And the opposition party should not sit at the back. Okay. They must get themselves together.
All right. We are almost questioning, but we cannot conclude this program by not asking you this genuine question as well too. If the province we know is the only province that has not become a state up to today. The agitation was rife some time ago that they wanted the Ijebu state, and a lot of people felt yes, it is time for that region to also become a state. In your own assessment, in your own fair assessment, do you think, or what would be your thought at this moment that should Ijebu become a state or not? And what do you think should be done strategically? Is it to lobby, whatever they would like to do? What would be your thoughts here?
It is a plus for us in Ogun State if you can have a state from Ogun State. If you can have an Ijebu state, it is a plus. It is a major plus. Those are part of the potential as I said we are here to harness.
Okay.
It's a major plus for us. Whatever happens, Ijebu remain an integral part of Nigeria. And you know I didn't say Ogun State now. Go and look at business, go and look at politics, go and look at academics. You can never take Ijebu away. So there are, in fact, even regions that are not as ripe as Ijebu have gotten a state. So Ijebu is taking for state. Yes, I think they have it. And the time is now. It is part of the untapped potential that I mentioned in Ogun State. Let there be synergy between the leadership of the state and the leadership of the senatorial district that are championing it, which is Ogun East. Let them come together and work and ensure they deliver it. Those are part of the untapped potential that I mentioned the other time. It will help us in terms of development. So let there be the Edas and the Edado to run Ogun State. It's okay for us. And there will be more development. Because Yorubas will say, so whatever that is happening in Ijebu, I can assure you that whatever that is happening in Ijebu will also transit to Ogun State. Because they are part of us. So if you have Ibadan State in Oyo, it's also good. They are also ripe. We have 50 states in the United States. In Canada, we have provinces. And we are all working together.
Okay.
So for me, I see it as a welcome development.
Well, 50 years of Ogun State, we just celebrated that. We have taken a look at the journey so far from that very first, from that on the beginning in 1976 to this present moment. Which is Ogun State of your dream? Where do you want to see Ogun State? Let's project it to the next 50 years to now. Well, if Jesus tarries and God spares our lives, we will still be alive. So what Ogun State do you want to see in the next 50 years?
Yeah, next 50 years of Ogun State, I want to see that all the untapped potentials that I mentioned at the beginning of this interview are well tapped. I want to see that there is no problem of healthcare delivery any longer. I want to see that we have our hospitals that are well equipped with both women and good facilities. I want to see an Ogun State where we would have resolved our housing problem to the barest minimum, if not totally eliminated. Still have people sleeping under the bridge. So I want to see an Ogun State where that would have been resolved. Even not the next 50 years, in the next 20 years. I think it is important to have a developmental plan that are short-term and long-term. So in the next 20 years, I want to see an Ogun State where housing will not be a problem. I want to see an Ogun State where we can produce our own and generate our own electricity. And that will also foster economic development. I want to see an Ogun State where all our roads are well tapped, where internet will be everywhere, where we will also not have problems of water. Water is essential.
Sure.
I want an Ogun State Water Corporation of those days where you just go and open your water and you get water. I remember I was a young chap in this state.
Okay.
And I saw it. So I want that back. I don't want it in the next 50 years. I want it in the next 20 years.
Okay, so
in the next 50 years, I now want industrialization.
Okay.
Massive one. So that will bring people to Ogun State and everybody will be living very good.
Okay, Dr. Peter, since I'm so passionate about the electoral system, the political system in Nigeria, particularly Ogun State, and you are not too far away from Nigeria, though you are based in Canada. Will you be participating in the election comfortably to elect who becomes the next governor of Ogun State?
By the special grace of God, I would. That's my fundamental right. I will be here to do that. Definitely, I will be around to do that. However, I'm hoping that we would have actually gotten the right candidates without being biased, an open contest that will give opportunity for people that wants to serve to also be part. If the process is seamless, good, I will definitely be part of it.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Gafar Akinsanya, for being our guest. He's a public affairs analyst and, of course, the public health physician. What was working in Nigeria, but is now based in Canada, but is so much aggrieved with what is going on in Nigeria in Ogun State. So we have found it necessary to be on the program this week, and he has shared his thoughts, a lot of thoughts on different issues that affect Nigeria and, of course, Ogun State. Once again, I thank you, Dr. Gafar Akinsanya, for finding out to be with us.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
All right. That's how we draw the curtain on this week's edition of the program and what part. I remain to make sure, okay, keep flourishing the peace of the Most High. Bye for now.